All right, so I'm starting the recording now. Welcome to everyone. Today is our special final outcome version of our normal weekly hang. Cody just asked a question about cymbals and drums in terms of like warmth, in terms of tone, things like that. So yeah, a lot of it does depend on the wood when you're targeting drums. Different woods are going to resonate in a different way. I've always found that the more mass a drum has, the more resonance it's also going to have. You know, so a heavier wood is going to have a little bit more resonance than like a lighter wood. It depends on what you like. You know, maple has a lot of the resonance, a lot of warmth. These are all maple drums. Birch is less warm. Birch is more going to be more of like an attack type of sound. If you want more something more like that. But we're talking about very subtle nuances, because if you put a microphone on it and you're playing live versus, you know, in the studio, it's two different things. I mean, in a live setting, it's going to be really hard to tell based on the shells of the drums. You can have really lousy drums, and when they're coming through that PA with all the production effects on them, you know, I've played on crappy $200 drum sets that sounded amazing live. The studio is a different story. The studio, I would say, in my opinion, nicer drums that have more warmth and more body tend to be easier to get good drum sounds out of. You could still do it with lousy drum shells or, you know, but you have to play with it a little bit more. You know, I don't know if that's anyone else's experience. Graham, you had your hand raised. Did you want to interject into that?
No, I was just sticking my thumb up to Alan because he muted his microphone. That was the only. But no, if I was going to say anything, heads make a major difference. I tuned a lot of my students' kits, and I've noticed I've tuned some real stinkers of kits as well. Like they've been really cheap kits, like, but they still sound great. Put a good set of heads on them, sound awesome. Yeah, there'll always be one drum that won't tune properly.
Always.
But yeah,
always.
But I'm a big fan of what are they? Gus? I don't know what they're called. Solid hoops. Yeah, right. Like forged hoops, because they tune evenly, a lot more easily. Like, you know, they don't bend as much. So. But yeah, you just gotta practice that. And just
there's a lot of factors. I mean, the bearing edge has to be really good. So like my pearl drums are really nice maple shells, but the bearing edges are shot. The drums were just from sitting in different environments, hot and cold. I had them out in the rain when I was touring with them, and you know, they get warped, they get like kind of messed up. So the head just doesn't sit on them great on a couple of the toms. So they're very hard to tune. So what I have to do is I have to redo those bearing edges. I have to recut them, which I don't have, you know, the tools to do that. Actually, in one of these calls, Pete Barnett suggested that you take it and you put it on a big piece of sandpaper. You put the drum down and you kind of shake it back and forth with a flashlight in it until you don't see any light coming through, and that kind of evens out your bearing edge. And that's a way to do it. I haven't had the gumption to do that yet with that kit, but you know, so I mean, my experience is that the cheaper the drums, the harder they are to tune, but you could still get them there. But really nice drums, it's like a couple of tweaks and they sound amazing, you know. So there's a lot of points like in terms of that. Cymbals, on the other hand, cymbals are very different. You know, cymbals, depending on what you get, you could get a very expensive cymbal that's just not hammered great and it sounds awful, or it feels awful. You know, cheap cymbals always sound bad. I always feel bad. They always sound bad to me. So if you ever go with like real low line student cymbals, they always sound crappy. So there is such thing as lousy sounding nice cymbals, but there's no such thing as nice sounding cheap cymbals, in my opinion. Okay? So cymbals you have to be very picky. My rule for cymbals was always, you know, hit it once. I'd go to the music store, and if it's a crash cymbal, then I do the next one. Then I do the next one. And I let that instant, that feeling and reaction kind of sit with me for a second. And if something jumped out, that's when I would take it away. I'd put it on a drum set and I would play with it a little bit, you know. And same thing with a ride. It just, you know, I would just a couple of hits and feel it out. Give it a crash, hit the bell, and then move on to the next one. You know, that's it. I would never sit there. You don't sit there and just bash on it because your ears get desensitized. Also, pay attention to how it feels when you play it. Because the cymbal could sound great, but it could feel like dog shit. That happens. All right. I've had the other way too, where a cymbal feels great, but it just doesn't sound good. Yeah. So if you find that combination of a symbol that feels great and sounds good, you luck out. You know, for me with this symbol setup, Chris over at Sabian, he picked these out for me. I didn't hear them beforehand. I didn't know. They just all showed up at the house. He sent me an amazing set. So I don't know if he sit there and tested them or if he got really lucky, or they're just amazing symbols. But all of them really feel great. The one that I don't love out of all of them so far, and I hate to say it because I know it's their new line, but they sent me that 20-inch Stratus ride symbol, which is a nice ride symbol. But that particular one, I don't love how it feels when I play it. It has a very dead feeling to me. And, almost like a very Jack DeJohnette Earth ride feeling to me. And that ride I don't love so much. So it's on my pad kit over there. I admit. Does that answer the question a little bit, Cody? Is that kind of like, what are you looking to do? Are you looking to get into some new gear?
There's dogs going off in the background. I'm sorry if y'all hear that, but I'll watch a video about a symbol, like I'll research a symbol, and somebody will just describe the tone as dark or bright, and I want to know what those mean in detail, because they never really go into depth about what dark or bright means. I'm familiar with a dry sound as opposed to the opposite, but dark and bright, I'm just not picking up.
Okay. Yeah, that's a little more specific, but I totally understand what you're saying in terms of that, because it's like bright symbols. How do you explain that? Anyone have a good way of explaining bright versus dark? It's almost like timbre. It's almost like, think of it in terms of like a piano, high notes and low notes. A darker symbol is going to have a lower timbre to it. It's not going to be a brighter symbol is going to have a higher. It's not really pitch because it's not the note. It's just like the vibe of the symbol. Who's that? That I saw a hand go up. Go ahead, Graham.
Yeah, I was just going to say, like, I would say bright symbols are clear. I mean, you can ask Angelo on this because he's got enough symbols that I know quite a lot about it. But yeah, bright symbols, I don't know. They're usually not. They're not like, when you look at them, they're usually really shiny and they cut through the mix really sharply, like bright and But then you get the dark symbols, and there's more complexity to them. I think the sound develops when you hit them, if you lay into them and stuff like that. That's the way I would describe it, but it's difficult. That's a difficult question.
It's a difficult question, right? So, I mean, I could definitely tell, like, when you have a dark symbol next to a bright symbol. A bright symbol, see, I have all dark symbols. My symbols, I love dark. So everything's kind of from a Zildjian standpoint. Their Avitus symbols, the Avitus A customs are bright. The K customs are dark. And if you hear them next to each other, you could hear the difference. My effect symbols tend to be this one right here is a little bit brighter, but it's an effect symbol, so it's got the holes in it. But next to the Stratus crash, which is a dark crash, see if you can hear the difference through my microphone. You hear that? Now listen to this one. Can you hear like this is it's a deeper body to it. This is more of a high pitched shimmer to it. It's not a great comparison because this is an effect symbol, so it has a little bit of that high sheen to it. This one is super dark. The 0 is also, for an effect symbol, this is kind of dark too. Again, all my symbols are dark. But it's nice. It's actually next to this explosion crash. It sounds light. It sounds bright. Bright, like Graham said, it's going to be like a very clear, crisp kind of sound. Dark has more of that, like more body to it, more bass. Is a bassier tone, where bright is more trebly. Does that make sense to people? Does that kind of compute? What do you think, Angela? What's your thoughts? You're good at enunciating this stuff.
No, to be honest with you, I do exactly what you do, Jay. I go to a store, I hit the thing. If I like it, I buy it. If I don't like it, I go to the next one, until I hear the one I like. I don't worry whether it says dark on it, minor on it, Zildjian on it, pasty on it. If I like the sound, I'll get it.
Right. Go ahead, Floyd. What do you got?
Hey, Cody. I've had the same problem in the past, and when I've gone to buy cymbals, what I've gone to do is I've chosen out like a dark and a bright one, and I asked the salespeople there to hit it while I'm standing on the other side of the room, because I find that you can get a better, you can hear the difference in the sound better. I'm like Jay and Graham. I don't really know how to explain the difference. But when you put them next to each other, you definitely hear the difference. And I find you hear the difference better if you're not right next to the cymbal yourself.
Yeah, that's a very good point. I mean, if you're a little bit far away from it, the only downside to that is like, you know, getting the feeling of hitting the cymbal matters. You know, I like a buttery cymbal. I like a cymbal that feels like my stick melts into the cymbal when I hit it. I love cymbals when you hit them and they have that shimmer, that wobble to them. You know, those tend to be a little bit thinner. Like this, the technology has a little bit of that, but you know, it's a personal thing as far as to narrow down exactly what that is. Yeah, it's hard to explain. It definitely is hard. I don't know if that's helping, if this is helping you at all. Okay, cool. All right, what do you guys say? You guys ready to jump into some of these performances? Okay, we're going to do a quick test. I want to make sure that you guys can hear this. I tested it before, and everything seemed to work. Let me shut this door because my dogs are barking too. I got Cody's problem. There we go. Okay, so we're going to do a quick little sound test to see if this works. All right, so give me a second while I share the screen. Okay, what I'd like to do is I would like everybody that's performing, Ezra's not here, so I'll kind of give his little intro. But if you want to talk a little bit about the performance, about what you thought about before we go into it.
Yeah, so this is the song it's actually called Time Turns Elastic. It's by my favorite rock group, Phish. And it, for those who don't know, it's a jam band, right? So if you think Grateful Dead, think Phish, that similar genre of kind of free-form improvisational music. And to me, this is kind of if you took the best parts of all the different types of music they play and all the different types of song and smashed them together to like make a sampler platter, this is kind of shows a lot of the different styles that Phish can play in. So I did my best to, and it's a 13-minute long song, so I think Jay chopped it up a little bit, so we'll see what parts are in there. But very, different time signatures. There's some kind of like repetitive, almost like math rock to it. So I really enjoy the very beginning of it. It's got these kind of like Latin polyrhythms, but then it gets, kind of quiet and soft, and then, kind of a climactic rocking out at the end. So yeah, that's it. That's why I chose it. And hopefully it sounds pretty good. I think it does.
Let everyone know kind of what we're doing here. So these guys were involved in my mentorship that we started last year. This is the second round of our mentorship, and this is just our final outcome performance for a few of these guys. Just an ability to take kind of stuff that they've learned and put themselves out there. So some of these guys haven't, necessarily performed. I mean, Garrett, I think you probably have, but haven't necessarily performed in front of people. So this is really kind of putting everybody out there. So I definitely ask everyone to, pay attention and check out what they're doing. Mute your microphones so we don't have any extra background noise or anything happening while you're watching. And we'll see you guys after this performance. Okay. So here is Garrett.
Time turns elastic.
Okay.
Yeah, man. That was awesome.
Yeah.
Good job. Good job, man.
You.
That was a tough song, man. And those time changes, you nailed it, man. That's amazing. That's plus, you know, it was a 13-minute song, and I did cut it up a little bit just to get in there. I hope I made it smooth enough, Garrett.
No, it was like the perfect spots too, where you didn't miss a whole lot. But there was kind of the middle section of it. I from one of the classes, right, and learning how to put those lead sheets together and kind of write out the notation. Like I had to do that for certain sections of this that I might have been able to kind of fake it in the past, but actually like taking that practice to write it out, it helped me really play the right rhythms.
Nice.
So that was a real helpful thing. But I had that sheet just on my bass drum, so while I was playing it, I'm sitting there just reading it right there off of the sheet, and it was perfect. So
yeah, that's it because there's a lot to remember in that tune. I mean, Cody's tune also, I noticed, because there's a lot to do.
right
Hey man, that was a great job, awesome job, and hey, you did it. You really nailed it. That's great, awesome job. So
thanks.
Phenomenal. Cool. And again, I'm gonna post all this when this is all done. This will be up on the app, so you guys could go back and revisit and check it all out. Okay, so next we're gonna have Graham. Graham's gonna come in next, and this kind of went in the order of just kind of who got me their stuff first. So that's the order of how I'm doing it. So yeah, Graham, tell us a little bit about your thing here.
So thanks to Jay. He suggested by the first time I went through the course that I do 7 days, but unfortunately I was not capable in the first round. And then in the second round, I actually decided to try and do it, especially considering it's Fenichel and the way he plays it. But after our really good call that we had and we spoke about it, it was nice to hear that I could do my own version of it, so it didn't have to be identical to the Fenichel. Although at some point I would like to revisit it and actually try and do a verbatim version of it at some point. But
I mean, to be fair, I don't think Vinny ever played it the same way twice. I don't think he could go back and play that album version if he wanted to.
Yeah, but I have to just add that although it was pushing myself to a further a part of my playing that I didn't think I would be able to do, also the video part of doing it all and putting it together and filming and lighting and editing and putting the sound I literally the first time ran into a wall where my computer just kept crashing and all the audio stuff just refused to work. And at some points I was just considering saying, look guys, just leave it, I'll just post something really easy and do it. But it's well worth it. So if anyone out there wanting to do it themselves, just go for it. Trust in the ability, and Jay will help you along the way. So yeah,
absolutely.
Leave it at that.
And again, when you have to do it, when you have something to work towards, that's really the key. That's the key with anything in terms of learning and practicing, is knowing why you're doing it and then having something to work towards. It's a very powerful motivator, and you achieve stuff you never thought you'd be able to do when you have that fire under your butt. So let's go check out Graham's playing on 7 days.
to see. It's him or me. Monday, I couldn't wait till Tuesday. If I make up my mind, Wednesday would be fine. Thursday's on my mind. Friday, give me time. Saturday could wait, but Sunday'd be too late. The fact is, over 6'10", might instill fear in other men, but not in me. The mighty flee. Ask if I am mouse or man. The mirror squeaked the way I ran. He'll murder me in time for his tea. Does it bother me at all? My rival is Neanderthal. It makes me think perhaps I need a drink. IQ is no problem here. We won't be playing Scrabble for a hand I feel. I need that beer. Monday, I could wait till Tuesday. If I make up my mind, Wednesday would be fine. Thursday's on my mind. Friday, give me time. Saturday could wait, but Sunday'd be too late. 7 days will quickly go. The fact remains, I love her so. 7 days, so many ways I can run away. I can run away. Monday, I could wait till Tuesday. If I make up my mind, Wednesday would be fine. Thursday's on my mind. Friday, give me time. Saturday could wait, but Sunday be too late. Sunday be too late. Sunday be too late. We'll have to tell the story of 1,000 rainy days since we first
Wow.
Nice job. Nice production
guys.
too. Quick
Very cool.
question. Can I ask a question?
Go
Are you isolating or removing the drums from that track? It sounds like it.
Yeah. I'm using Moises, the app Moises. I haven't got the full version. Andy Baum knows a bit more about that one than me because he's actually got the full version. The paid
Yeah, I
version.
got the full version because I did a collaboration with them. I mean, there's a lot of great tools on Moises. So there's just the separation like what Graham did, but then there's like, it'll add a metronome for you. It'll generate a metronome. It will loop sections. So if you want to just practice the bridge or the chorus, it'll just in real time loop the sections. There's a lot of really cool features on that Moises app.
So
could you type in the name of that in chat just so I got it right?
I'll put it in the chat right
just for information about how I recorded that. I actually recorded it with the Moises app running with the click on while I was playing. So I muted the drums and had the click running, and then I deleted that track and then put in the track without the click in it.
Right.
Using the count in as a reference point. That's why it hits on the one. So you don't hear the count in. Obviously, it's muted. But I'm guessing that's how most of them do that in the studio as well. So.
Sometimes I'll just record myself going as my counting, and then I'll delete it later. That's kind of like my really bad hack for doing that. Somebody asked me that on one of my counting videos, I think for the rock and roll. They're like, how are you snapping before the song comes in? I'm like, well, in my DAW, I give myself a reference where the time is, you know, before I start snapping it. But yeah, that's it. Angelo, you got a question?
Yeah, quick question. I don't know if it's only me, and because I'm so far away, but the sound comes through perfectly. The picture is buffering. Is there anybody else having the same problem, or is it just my computer?
Yeah. The video's not coming in great. I wonder if it's because of my computer, because I'm running the meeting and playing Vimeo at the same time. It's like 2 video services. Maybe the internet is like not.
You know, you need sometimes you can check. There's some settings that can fix that. I do a lot of WebExes with work, and now it's a different format or different tool, but there is some performance settings that allow the video slightly degraded in quality picture, but actually synchronizes with the sound better. So I guess you can make that decision. I don't know if that's an option with what you've got using though.
I have it playing back at 1080p. So what I could do is I could lower that quality to like 720, and maybe that'll help. Let's try doing it like that. And I just don't understand.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, maybe. It's less information going over the internet, that's for sure.
Right. I mean, I can't believe we ran into like buffering issues too, which is really weird that it buffered like that right in the middle. That's usually not something that you see with Vimeo. Vimeo doesn't usually do that, where you have buffer problems. But
so on the edit, you can just cut to the actual video, can't you?
Yeah, well, that's what I'll do. So when I'll put it into Final Cut, I'll drop your actual video in there, so it won't be streaming from the internet. So on the replay will be perfect. That's what I did for the other round, because we had all kinds of problems with your performance on that live version. I ended up cutting in your actual physical one. It makes it
I wish I'd done a real-time screen recording, because the setup was awesome, and like, you know, the actual what I was looking at, I did a really good take on that one, but yeah, I don't have a recording of it, so we have only got the video to go. But yeah, that's live.
You know, live is live. You know, sometimes that happens. You know. All right, cool. Let's continue on. So the next one's actually Ezra. Ezra couldn't make it to the hang. Tuesday nights are just a bad night for him, but he sent me this video. This is a friend of his wrote this track. He's a little off kilter on the video. He kind of got a really good shot of his window. But let's check out Ezra's playing on this take. Very cool. Trancy. So our final performance is going to be Cody. Okay. So now I know from experience, this is a hard tune. This is a very tough tune. So Cody, tell us about it a little bit.
I know for certain Graham's going to like this one. I don't know when exactly I started thinking about doing this as a final outcome. Probably when I restarted and did those last 3 weeks or 2 weeks, whatever. But I remember when we were going through the learning how to read and stuff, I printed a badly notated sheet for this song. And I was trying to get everybody to look at it, and nobody, I mean, they understood it, but nobody understood why it was notated that way. And Graham's the one that sent me the right sheet music for it. And I'm a big fan of the band Tool, and this is probably one of my favorite songs by them, and it's not going to be perfect. And, you know, I had every technical difficulty possible trying to get it recorded. And there's going to be a fat watermark on the video because they wanted me to pay $80 for a yearly subscription, and I didn't want to do it. So I just said, y'all can look at the watermark.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm okay with that.
Yes.
Okay, cool, man. Got anything else?
Graham, I saw that stick flip in 7 days. I like that.
I didn't think anyone had noticed. On take 12, that ruined me.
Nice.
So where do you find the sheet music for this song?
I was on Drumeo, so that's where I got. So yeah, they have a really good archive. That's the reason I got Drumeo, was just for the archive of all the notation. But yeah, I scour the internet. There's drumninja.com. I think that's one of them. A lot of them used to be free, but now they're starting charging. So just got to look out there. I'll put some links up. I'll try and find.
There's one called Songster, like SONGSTER, and it's pretty good.
The problem with Songster and MuseScore and some of these others is they'll be written by someone who's writing the notation themselves. So sometimes they're not accurate, or they'll be written wrong, and then you have these big problems.
All right, without further ado, let's check out The Grudge by Tool with Cody playing drums here. an easy tune, man.
That's awesome.
Gonna have that rhythm stuck in my head the rest of the day now.
No, I had gotten to a point where I had so many takes where I just had to sit down and be like, okay, this is the one. I'm playing through this one, mistakes and all, and this is the one because I was getting too picky.
Well, again, we talked about that with Graham, and that happens to all of us. I do the same thing. Every drummer I know does that. So it's really tough. The hard part about that is when you're in the studio and you're being hired. That's happened to me where I've been in and where time is money and they want you to do it in one or two. And I'll do like one and the producer will be like, oh, that's great. Perfect. And I hated it. And I'm like, I hated that. I was like, can I just do it one more time? And then I'll do it one more time. And he'd be like, oh, we got plenty. But I'll be like, I'll listen back and I'll be like, oh man, I hated this. And they're like, that's fine. It's fine. So, you never get a perfect take, at least in your own view. Heard Steve Gadd talking about Asia. He went in there and cut that track. It's like he's got that stick click in there. And it's that debate was that on purpose or was that a mistake? Of course it was a mistake. Of course he didn't mean to hit his sticks together or hit the rim or whatever he did, but it's like, it's in time, but if you listen to Gadd, I'm sure you think he doesn't like cringe every time he hears that track and he hears that stick click, that he's like, oh, and that's like his most famous track, but listen, Cody, you slam that tune. That's not an easy tune with all the time changes, all the stuff that's happening. Danny Carey is not an easy drummer.
It's when it goes like that last, like when they redo the intro,
right?
And during the scream where it goes from 5/8 to 6/8.
Oh yeah.
Every single time that happens, it's like 4 bars of 5/8, then a bar of 6/8, and then it repeats that. That bar of 6/8 would get me every time, and I'd rush it or drag it.
Yeah. Hey, you did a great job. Go ahead, Angelo.
That was awesome, Cody. I was listening to that and I was thinking Black Sabbath.
Nice.
Have a listen to some Black Sabbath, Cody.
Oh yeah. Well, that's where a lot of this stuff comes from, I mean, it's like stepping on the shoulders of everyone that came before, who's that? Was that Bill Ward, who's Black Sabbath, right?
Bill Ward.
Yeah. I mean, absolutely. So, but I mean, listening to any of that progressive stuff, that all comes from something else. If you listen to like Crimson or you're listening Emerson, Lake and Palmer or any of that kind of stuff, even going back to like old Genesis and Yes and bands like that, bands like Tool are standing on their shoulders, bands like Dream Theater are standing on the shoulders of guys like that. Even like Rush, when I was your age, it was, Rush was like if you could play, Tom Sawyer, if you could play La Via Strangiato, one of those crazy epic 7-minute instrumental Neil Peart songs, but you did it, man. You did a great job. Cool. All right. So, I mean, that's all our performances for today. Thank you guys so much for being attentive and checking and supporting everybody. John, Alan, I know we had a bunch of people in here. I don't know if we lost people along the way, which, happens. But I just want to thank, Cody. I want to thank Garrett and Graham and Ezra for throwing this together. I know there was a couple more that didn't quite make the deadline, but we got a third round of this mentorship coming up. So you guys got another shot at it when we go through this all again. So does anyone have any other questions before we wrap up tonight? Anyone anything else they want to add?
Just great job by all the drummers today. Thank you.
Thanks, Al. John. Yeah, I'll get one of those in a minute. Go ahead, Floyd.
You guys, are you posting it on the app or the performances?
Yes, I'm going to take this whole.
Excellent.
We'll pop it into the live area on the app. So, and I know
just
Graham,
for the buffering of the videos.
Yeah, I know. I almost want to play Graham's again because I think that was my computer. I think it just needed a reset. It probably got too hot and something was happening there. Of course, it happened with Graham's video because I feel like poor Graham always gets the shit into the stick like every time.
You get used to it. After a while, you get used to it, so it's fine. I'll take it as it comes. I'm just going to put quickly my my YouTube channel.
Yeah, do that. Pop it in there. again, I just want to say thanks to everybody for pulling this all together and for supporting, and the guys that contributed and actually did a performance. It takes a lot of guts, a lot of balls, a lot of time, and a lot of patience to learn these tunes and not only be able to play it, but, you know, put yourself out there. So congrats to all you guys for doing that. That was an awesome job. All right. If anyone's got any other questions, we'll wait till next week. So everyone have a great night, and I will see everyone later. Congratulations, everyone. Good job.
Thanks again. Take care.
Thanks, guys.